Happy Earth Day, everybody. Alyssa here from Southern Maryland Vegan Events, and I am so excited to be able to do this for you all because Earth Day is one of my favorite days of the year to celebrate and highlight because it's so important, not just once a year, but it honestly is something that now more than ever we got to talk about all the time. Earth Day, every day, for real. So it's one of the things that we really need to pay attention to when it comes to what does environmental health mean? What does taking care of the planet mean? What does that mean for the future? What's that mean for future generations and how important that is? So it really is a topic that I care a lot about and spend a lot of time researching and studying, and there's just new information coming out all the time. So it really is super important. And so I'm going to today give you a little food demo and talk about one of my favorite dishes that is so good. It's one of my favorite go-tos for all things comfort food, and I promise you the entire family will love it. So I'm gonna show you that. It's really simple, really quick, which is even better. But on top of that, I just want to cover for a second how important talking about Earth Day and protecting the planet truly is, and why we can't talk about it without addressing food and our consumption of animals and their byproducts, meaning dairy and eggs. So not just our meat consumption, but everything that goes into farming animals. And so it really is, animal agriculture is one of the leading causes of climate change. Our food consumption is one of the leading causes of climate change. And in fact, it's responsible for more greenhouse gas emissions than the entire transportation sector combined. So it truly is massive when you break it out. And the importance of really not just the greenhouse gases, but the toll that it takes on everything else, on our waterways, streams, rivers. We're right here on the bay. And so animal agriculture pollution comes into our waterways and pollutes our waterways from everywhere. And so not just that, it's very polluting to the air that we breathe. It's one of the leading causes of asthma because of the massive amounts of ammonia that are emitted from the manure, and the methane and the nitrous oxide are just so completely destructive on so many levels. And it also is responsible for species extinction and the depletion and destruction of our rainforests, which are the lungs of the earth, and just so many things that when you really take a look at it, and there's so much science and data and information out there now, it's stunning. And the amount of animals that are being farmed to feed an ever-growing population, we just can't sustain it. So it's really important. And we really need to, instead of being on opposite sides with one another, no matter how we feel, whether you're vegan or whether you're a meat eater or somewhere in between, it's really important, instead of being on opposite sides with one another, we need to come together and work together. And there are actual organizations that are doing just that. So Rancher Advocacy Program and Agriculture Fairness Alliance, which I'll give descriptions in their links in the description to the video. But those are just two incredible organizations that are working with the ranchers, the livestock farmers, the animal agriculture farmers, to work on transition programs to help them transition from farming animals to plant-based, sustainable, climate-friendly crops. And so it truly is incredible to see, and the farmers are actually, they recognize this, and they want to come to the table, work together to address this, because they see it too. And so they're saying, hey, we want to change, but how do we go about doing that? So these programs are really aggressively working to help these farmers transition to lucrative crops that aren't just, you know, beneficial to the planet, but they're lucrative. Things such as hazelnuts, mung beans, hemp. I mean, hemp is just skyrocketing in terms of the amount of uses, from construction materials, automobile materials, bioplastics, to obviously medicinal. There are just so many uses. Plus, it's so much more climate friendly. It actually absorbs carbon dioxide from the atmosphere and is just a win-win all the way around. So those are just a couple of areas that, or a couple of options that are really doing amazing work to address this and tackle this by working together and creating options, transition programs, drafting legislation to make that happen, working with our lawmakers. And so I really invite you to take a look into these programs and check it out for yourself. See what's happening, because we really have to progress, and a lot of folks on every single side are recognizing that. So it's encouraging. But with that said, I am going to get to this recipe. So because I could talk on that all day, and I study it all day, I research it all day, and I could talk about that forever. But let's talk about food and the benefits of plant-based eating. And so also there was just a new study that came out just a couple weeks ago where $3.1 billion just in 2020 was invested into the alternative protein market, and that includes plant-based, that includes the cultivated meat, the fermentation, or the fermented products, all of the animal-free alternative proteins that are coming out, that that's booming. And so that was huge. $3.1 billion just in 2020, which was a record alone in and of itself. And so the industry is growing, the market. From a retail standpoint, these businesses recognize that, and you see it constantly in terms of commercials, to Burger King, to McDonald's is coming out with a plant-based sandwich. Oh my gosh, and so many products that are available now. And so these companies see that, and so, you know, from that standpoint alone, you can't go anywhere without plant-based, vegan, animal-free options being available, because everyone is saying, hey, look, we want this. So it's huge. So talking about the food, let's go into this. So one of my favorite recipes is Fettuccine Alfredo, or pasta Alfredo, and I can eat that every day if I wanted to. So one of the best recipes for this, from animal-free, plant-based perspective, is truly even better than when I remembered it when I used to eat it pre-vegan. So I love it, and I make this all the time for people, and they're just like, what? This is so good. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna take about a cup of raw cashews and soak them in boiling water for about 30 minutes. And I went ahead and pre-did that. So once those are done, you're gonna dump those into your blender, followed by, you gotta get every single one of those cashew pieces in there. I add as much garlic as you like. You can never go wrong with too much garlic, in my opinion, and it's really good for you. It's awesome for your gut. So I'm gonna put in about four garlic cloves. And then I'm gonna add about 2 tablespoons of nutritional yeast. And if you haven't used this before, it's really, really high in vitamins. It's very cheesy. It has a very cheesy texture to it and taste. So you can add as much of that, and it's a great source of B12 as well. So I'm gonna add about 2 tablespoons. And the great thing is I've said this a million times too, you don't have to measure things perfectly. It's okay. If it's 2.5 tablespoons or 1, it doesn't matter. It's all good. It's gonna come out fine. So then I'm gonna add about a cup of oat milk, just on the original oat milk. And this is huge. It's so good. It's so creamy. It's everywhere. Everyone loves it. And it's great. It's one of my favorites for cooking because it doesn't have like that sweet taste to it that sometimes some of the other milks have to, plant-based milks have with it. So I love it. So about a cup of that, and then some fresh ground salt, pepper, as much as you feel like, and that's it. So we're gonna blend it. To add a little bit of creaminess to it, I usually put in a little bit of water as well, just to enhance that creaminess a little bit. You don't have to, depends on how you feel. So good. It's done. It's good. So you are going to then, I went ahead and pre-made my pasta real quick. Use whatever you like. I love this brand. They have everything, linguine, fettuccine, everything. And it's found everywhere. So I love it. And it's egg free. So it's one of the ones that you never have to worry about. So grab some pasta. In my case, I could eat the whole bag or the whole box or whatever because I love it. And carbs are a good thing. It's usually what are paired with carbs that make them bad. Complex carbs are good. They're actually fuel for your body. You need them. So there's your pasta, and then all you do is take that creamy Alfredo, pour that over top, and then garnish with some fresh parsley. I love the Violife Parmesan wedges. They are so good, and just grate some fresh plant-based cheese, and you are good. I mean, this smells so good. You're good. Look at how good that looks. It's so good. And I made this actually a little bit creamier than, you can make it as thick as you want, as creamy as you want. I like mine to be a little bit creamier. And if you want something even more decadent, add some vegan truffle oil to it. I do this all the time too. I love it. And so you can just do like a teeny little couple of drops because it is so overpowering, and a little bit goes a long way. So add that, and then you have a truffle Alfredo that's so good. And so you could also saute some fresh mushrooms. I do that all the time. If you want your plant-based, you want your meat, you can have your plant-based meat on there too. The field roast sausages, saute some of those up, are fantastic. The tofurkey chicken strip pieces, saute that up, throw them on, and you can have your meat, and they taste just like it, they cook just like it, they smell just like it, and you're good. So that is what I wanted to show you. And for an alternative, even healthier version, you can take cauliflower and just cut these up into florets, steam them, get them soft. Throw that into the blender instead of the cashews, because cashews can tend to get expensive as well. So for a healthier and less expensive option, if you want to do that, do cauliflower, and then the same rest of the ingredients, and then you have an even more spectacular Alfredo sauce. If you agree, I I love the creaminess of the cashews, but if you have a nut allergy, or like I said, doing something a little bit less expensive and healthier, I know that the cashews can be a little bit of added fat in there. So that's just another option, but that's it. And so I really am so glad that you watched. I hope that you'll try it. I hope that you will give it a shot, and you know, get a hold of me anytime if you ever want any recipes or tips, or where to shop, what to eat, pantry staples, where to go, what to order at restaurants. Give me a shout. And so the local area has improved so much that there is options literally everywhere. So don't be afraid to try them, and don't feel like it's entirely overwhelming, because it's changing and rapidly changing, actually, constantly. So I hope you enjoy. Happy Earth Day. Let's be kinder to one another. Let's be kinder to the planet. Let's be kinder to the animals, because we all can live here together in harmony, and let's take care of one another. So be well, be safe, and enjoy. Bye.